Hello, this is my response to our session three reflection discussion. My name is Aaron Dreeping, and anyway, let's give it a shot. Um, Applying what I've learned from reading assignments and reflect on the size and quality of my current audience. Turns out, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't really give myself a whole lot of as much credit as I should. I've I've been I've gotten into this humble trap. Like I'm like, oh, I don't deserve credit. Taking credit is not being humble, but whatever. I'm listening to sermons on it. I'm figuring it out because you don't want to be conceited, but then again, it's like if you deserve credit, take credit for it. Like, don't give it away. Don't give your power away. Anyway, yeah, it turns out my audience is way bigger than I thought it was. I'm a supervisor at a treatment facility with teenagers. We have boys and girls. We have management. We have supervisors. And my audience is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Everyone is looking at me. Everyone is watching what I do at all times, especially these kids. They're constantly getting ideas of what it means to be a grown up, what it actually really does mean to be a man of faith. Although I can't really talk about my faith, it's kind of one of the lame things about our system. According to Welsh, he talks about the type of questions that you receive. These types of questions can be really focused on how good your quality of stuff is. If you're when you're teaching people, like he said, if they have lame questions, you're basically teaching lame stuff. That's kind of how that goes. He also talks about how media is a global conversation. And that really struck me because, as I've posted before, I'm really not a social media guy. In the beginning, I associated social media with just wasting time. But as I'm learning, it's a way to adapt myself to a changing environment. If you don't change with this environment, the world is just going to leave you behind for the simple fact that it evolves without you. He says it's a good way to connect, organize, shape, collect, collaborate, and publish. This is a good way for me to get a lot of ideas across. If I'm interested, excuse me, if I'm interested in like basically doing things, getting my name out there, getting myself out there, getting some ideas out there, being able to help people on a worldwide spectrum, like this is the way to do it. What ways am I actively engaging in co-creating new perspectives at work? This this goes this goes hand in hand with Nanaka's philosophy of making things happen. Um, you want to like Nanaka has these basic uh, four principles: socialization, articulation, or externalization. Sorry, combination, internalization, socialization, articulation. So basically, you have an idea, you collaborate with an idea. This is what I'm doing at work. What I'm trying to get people to do. We also had a previous lecture on what is it? The able management philosophy. Agile. I thought able sounded funny on the agile philosophy. It's basically how to empower people from the bottom up, how to get ideas percolating. Nanaka's philosophy will go hand in hand with that. You socialize, you talk about things with each other. You get everybody moving, everybody talking about new ideas, new concepts, things come up. Articulation, externalization, you make it happen. You start writing things down, writing ideas down, brainstorming, everybody comes up with different ideas. And then that will just automatically flow into combination, how you're combining everything together. And then internalization, you understand it, you read it, you understand it, you apply it, you take it further. And from that, you can go back into socialization, where you talk about things, articulation, where you define it, then combination, where you add to it, internalization, where you keep it, you make it your own, and then it just goes around and around and around. It's a constant circle of creation. They so you they have a tactic, socialization, which basically means you go from tactic to explicit. Tactic means is you take something that you can do well, something that's basically ingrained in you, a muscle memory, and then you apply it to words. That's the part of the socialization process. You take something that you automatically do and you do well, and you talk about it. You get people involved. You learn from each other. Our reading had this example of they were trying to make a bread making machine. Anyway, long story short, I know I'm running out of time. I'm sure you're really bummed. So they couldn't get the kneading process down correctly. So somebody went and had voluntarily took an internship with a chef or with a pastry chef, a baker, so they could learn the process, so they could get the tactic, they could get the muscle memory, the engage portion of just everything you just naturally do, and they could turn that into words in the way they could explain that to other people, and then they could combine on that, then they can make it their own, and things just go on and on and on. And as many of you are probably in the same position as I am, it's difficult to get an organization thinking this way. If they're used to doing the same thing with minimal results for years, it's hard to get them to think like just to apply basic human ideas in relationships and expand and grow. So is anyone listening to me? Again, like I said, a lot more people than I thought. I basically have 25 teenage boys and a rotating staff of 7 to 10. They're listening to me. Management is listening to me. Some management is listening to me. We're finally getting people in the right positions that want to make changes. And some key people, not all key people, but some, we'll start with what we got, are interested in making decisions. And they're open up to new and fresh ideas. How can I continue to grow and engage people? Through social media. Social media will teach me avenues to reflect on and to engage in. Oh man, I am way out of time. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, social media will help. I basically have a friend who's trying to run an orphanage, and anyway, social media will help me help him, but also teach me new opportunities and new things to develop and new ways to grow and new ways to get ideas out there. And it'll help me collaborate. And it'll help me apply Nanaka's principles to my own life of creation and development. Again, sorry for dragging this on. I hope I said something worthwhile. Oh, stop.